Hello everyone. Today I will be discussing the constitutional principle known as the separation of church and state. Although the exact phrase does not appear in the Constitution, the idea comes from the First Amendment and the way the Supreme Court has interpreted it. My presentation focuses on the Establishment Clause, the Free Exercise Clause, and two provisions that shape the relationship between government and religion in the United States. The First Amendment states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The Establishment Clause prevents the government from officially endorsing, promoting, or establishing a religion. The Free Exercise Clause protects the rights of individuals to practice their religion without unnecessary government interference. Together, these clauses create a balance. The government must remain neutral towards religion while also protecting religious freedom. There are several important legal terms. The Establishment Clause limits government involvement with religion. The Free Exercise Clause protects religious practices and beliefs. Neutrality means that the government should not favor one religion over another or religion over non-religion. Religious liberty refers to the freedom to hold and express religious beliefs. These concepts are central to constitutional law and are frequently debated in Supreme Court cases. The first major case is Engel versus Vitale from 1962. In this case, a New York public school encouraged students to recite a government-written prayer at the start of every school day. Even though participation was technically voluntary, the Supreme Court ruled that the practice violates the Establishment Clause. The court reasoned that the government officials should not compose nor sponsor religious activities in public schools. This decision became one of the most significant church and state cases in American history, and it established an important precedent concerning school prayer. A more recent case is Kennedy versus Bremerton School District, which was in 2022. Joseph Kennedy was a public high school football coach, and he would pray on the field after games. School officials argued that allowing the prayer might appear to endorse religion. Kennedy argued that he was exercising his personal religious beliefs. The Supreme Court ruled in Kennedy's favor, finding that his quiet personal prayer was protected by the free exercise and free speech clauses. This case demonstrates how the court has recently emphasized protection for individual religious expression. Another important 2022 case is Carson versus Macon. Maine operated a tuition assistance program for students in areas without public high schools. However, religious schools were excluded from receiving the funds. The Supreme Court ruled that excluding schools solely because they were religious violated the Free Exercise Clause. The decision showed that when government provides public benefits, religious organizations may not automatically be excluded simply because of their religious identity. These cases illustrate ongoing debates about the separation of church and state. Questions continue to arise about prayers in school, religious displays on public property, government funding involving religious institutions, and requests for religious exemptions from generally applicable laws. Courts must constantly balance concerns about government endorsements of religion with the constitutional protection of religious freedom. In conclusion, the separation of church and state remains a fundamental principle of constitutional law. The Establishment Clause prevents government-sponsored religion, while the Free Exercise Clause protects individual religious liberty. Cases such as Engel versus Vitale, Kennedy versus Bremerton, and Carson versus Macon show how the Supreme Court continues to define that balance. Understanding these decisions helps explain how constitutional law shapes the relationship between religion and government in modern America. Thank you so much for listening.